Making a captain's wheel. What I'm working on right here is I glued some stock together, and this is going to be, I'm making a 6-spoke captain's wheel, and this is going to be the hub. And the way I've decided to do it is 2.5 inches thick. I need to find the center. I got these going this way. All right, I need to find the center. Draw a circle. Then it's 120-degree angles. So I'm gonna make 6-sided here, and then each 6-sided will be the spoke coming out. So that's what I'm gonna work on here now, is getting this thing to size, cleaned up, and see if we can't get a hub for a captain's wheel made. So now that I've got a flat surface here and a perpendicular surface here, so the reference surfaces now go down and against the fence, and I'll square the ends up. The miter saw that I have cannot do a 90-degree cut. I've worked on that thing and worked on that thing and worked on that thing. So we're going to take the radial arm saw and see if we can't get a 90 with it. I've had better luck with the radial arm saw. Not had that much luck, the miter saw. But the radial arm saw, it puts it right on it. But what I've got now, that was my reference. It come off the joiner. This is the flat surface reference. So we know this is perpendicular. We checked it. However, what you just seen was this right here. We know this is a 90. But the thing about it is, I want 6 inches. That's 6.5. And that's 6 1/4. So what we're going to do now, we're going to make this thing 6 inch by 6 inch, perfectly square. But I'm using, see my mark I have right there? This is what I'm using. In other words, this will go against the fence for 6 inches. Then this will go against the fence for 6 inches. Now we're cutting it down to what I did on a radial arm saw was to get this perpendicular right here, at a 90-degree angle right there. The radial arm saw got this at a 90-degree angle. The joiner got this at a 90, surface. Now we got a reference here. We put on a table saw now at 6 inches. And we'll be able to run that thing through there and get a 6 by 6. Yeah, 6 by 6 square. All perpendicular, square. But we know this is flat. I'll need to go through the thickness planer and get this parallel to this. So let's get the hearing protection and we will get this thing going. So that is dead on 6 inches, 6 inches, 6 inch dead on it. Now we can do a cross measurement. 8 7/16, 8 7/16. Other than this surface right here, we are square every way that you can possibly, but this here is off just a little. The thickness planer will take care of that. I went ahead and put pencil marks right here. That way I know I got it when we got it. Okay. What we have, we've got it all squared up. Squared up and perpendicular to one another. Now we're ready to make a 6-sided figure here. There may be better ways of doing it. This is the way that I'm going to do it. First, I'm going to go corner to corner to find the dead center. Dead center. The center is what I'm hunting. So, well, tell you what, let's do. Let's go all the way. Corner to corner. Corner to corner. Right there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my compass. And I am going to draw me a circle. Okay. Just got that. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my little, what do you call this thing? Compass? No? Anyway, I put this line on the 90, this line on the 270. That line on the 0, that line on the 180. So I know I got to double check the center for the cross. We got it. So if you take 360 degrees divided by 6, gives you 60 degrees. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go from 0 to 60 right there. All right, 60 more would be 120. That would be right there. And then 180. Then after 180, with 60 more would be 240. All right, and then it goes to 300. And it back to 0. So what this amounts to is this. We've got, this one counts, this one is not, it's just to find center. And so 60 degrees is right there. And add 180 to it. All right. Like I said, that don't count. I connect. Okay, where have I lost my place? Huh. Where have I lost my place at? 0. All right, 270, 90, 0, 180. Why didn't that tape? Well, wait a minute. It's right here. Only 180, 240. Have I got it? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, I think I've already got it. It's something about that didn't look right. But anyway, if that's the case, this line right here needed to get the center, but we don't need it now, and that's what's making it look weird. So if you go here, we'll just check it right quick. From this point where they cross that circle, that is 1. That's one edge. That's second edge. Well, it's 1, 2. All right. See how that line comes into play and messes with my eyes anyway. 1, 2, 3. 4. 5 and 6. Yeah, we had it all along. Had it all along. Okay. I know it still may be hard to see, but that goes away. That goes away. That goes away. Now you can see it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the center. So, what I'm thinking about, this is just one of these. I'm just going to get on the bandsaw and try to, I'll just follow that as close as I can, then I can take my belt sander and go take it to the line. So yeah, so I guess the bandsaw's next. So we have got a 6-sided chunk of wood here. That's the center marked off there. Now the spokes will come off of it, and it's going to be a 2-foot diameter or thereabouts, maybe a tick over. Anyway, we're shooting for at least a 2-foot diameter, maybe a little bit more. So now I'm going to get the wood picked out, and we'll see if we can't get set up and start the spokes. Well, I got them glued up. Y'all see me mill this lumber down. Oh, damn, I'm telling how many times I glue up. So I went ahead and got them. I got glue on every other one. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 spokes that's going to come out of this thing. One way is 2, it's ready to go. And I'll have to, when it comes out of the glue, I'll have to trim the other one down. 2 inches by 2 inches is what I'm looking for. And then I will turn on a lathe and make the spokes. And then there's an outer ring. Then there's knobs. You know, the knobs will be on one end of this, but then there's a ring. But anyway, it'll come together. But right now I'm gonna let that set up. Ain't you gonna turn on the lathe? I usually let it set up at least 12 hours. Cause they go to flying apart in that lathe. It's really not fun. So, we'll set that. I'm gonna let it set to tomorrow. That'd be a little more than 12 hours, but see you tomorrow. 'Tis the next day, and we've let this thing sit up overnight, and looking pretty good. It's going to take a little work to get it naturally it would. Naturally it would. However, yesterday, well, to y'all, it was just previously in the video. But what I normally do, I go and most of the time at lunchtime, I'll film the lunchtime. I'll go upload it and put it on the timeline. What's fresh in my mind, I go ahead and do a certain amount of editing. The thing about it is, that's what I did yesterday, and at the end of the day, I'll do the same thing. But I went ahead and did yesterday's, and golly bum, my head got in the way, and it focused, and very distracting. But when you're doing it by yourself, it makes it kind of tough. You know, it's in woodworking, of course, it's all done. So you really don't get a take two unless you just take two and be talking about it. And that's what I'm gonna do. I did come back down here yesterday evening after I seen what happened. I got this thing built up on top where I can put a camera. And a couple things I learned from yesterday was, well, with my head getting in the way, I moved the camera back a little further. And that, we'll find out how well that helps, because I've got it back up there. The deal is, as far as focusing, so I film with my iPhone. The thing about it is, and I tried that here. I come back down here and tried it again. It seemed to work much better. But you hold your finger on the spot that you want to focus on. It locks the aperture and everything right there. So when I did my test run, I even purposely put my head in the way, but it wasn't as distracting as trying to focus back and forth. It quits all that. It stays focused on your subject that you touched. But moving the phone back a little bit, I'm not as apt to get my head in the way. And if it does get in the way, it won't be near as bad. Yesterday, that was kind of bad yesterday. I thought I had it all framed up, and you know, I did a little frame and then videoed a little bit and checked it. But the thing about it is, what happens, you in here working, you forget about that. And so you're concentrating on what you're doing. And my head got in the way. And it tried to focus on it, and it wasn't a good take. So I did have 2 cameras going, so I went to the alternative, I went to the second camera, if you know what I mean. Which naturally it was there to get, like the camera there, the overview, which I zoomed in what I can. Of course, the quality kind of goes away when that happens. But we let this thing set up overnight. But it's 2 inches, all of them are 2 inches wide. I had that trimmed. But basically what I want to do, these are going to be the spokes. So it's going to be a joint, but I want to trim it down to 2 inches. But what's going to happen, in other words, this in here needs 3/4 to come off. So basically, to keep this in the center, I need 3/8 to come off each side. So when I turn the thing, this would like be the front, and this will be on the sides. I think it'll look better. I'm trying to use this with what I already had laying around. There's nothing wrong with the wood, it's just left over from this and that and everything else. I try to do that where I can. If not, you'll have so much stuff laying around you can't even get around. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up and then get this to where the seam is in the center, get it cut to length, which like I say is 24 inches. And we will get one on the lathe. I should have done a test piece. Usually when I do a test piece, you don't need it. But when I don't do a test piece, one of these, it's going to screw up. Probably the first one. If it's my mistake, one thing, but if it fails on me, I just have to recreate what I've done, which is just a thing. However, at this point, do I have enough stuff? So let me work this up. When we get it ready, when we're ready to put it on the lathe, I'll make a design. I'd kind of like to make a storyboard, being I got 6 of them to do. Because if y'all never seen that, duplicator, which I can't afford that. If I had something like this, I had to do every single day. One could probably justify buying a duplicator. That's where you've got one turned. Then you got this thing that just follows the contours automatically and it cuts the second one. It's identical. But with a storyboard and some dividers, and you can make these things to where you really got to look to see. I mean, bring out the stuff, but from a distance, they look the same. So let me get that done and we'll be back here in just a bit. Ain't no sense y'all watch me clean that up. I'm sure that'd bore you to tears. It's just the mundane stuff. So I'll be back when I get this squared away. So what I've got, I went through in a table saw and whatnot, and I got it all, it's squared up, 24 inches long. I have 6 of them. So what I'm gonna do now is use a center finder to find each center, because I need to, when I put it in a lathe, I need the centers. So what I have here is the center finder. It's a combination square. The way I like to do it is do it with it, and I can go all the way around. I put it on all 4 corners. If it's off any, it will show up. So now you can just get right in the center of all that, make your divot. This is a good way to find a center. This will find a center of a circle. You lay it up there on a circle or an odd shape. Now, circle, you don't have the opportunity to put it in a corner, because last time I checked, circles didn't have corners, but you can lay this on a circular object and find the center. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the rest of these. So whenever I get them all marked, see, you got six spokes. That's 12 of these to do. So when I get them done, I'll be back, and we'll probably wind up over here on the lathe. And see if we can't come up with some kind of design. So what we got going on is we got us we're going to be a spoke right here. This drive center goes here, life center's on this end. Now you remember we put our little divots right here. Okay, so we put it in that point. There it went. It goes in that point. Lock her down. So what we have is a storyboard, like we had talked about. But the way this thing is set up, we got a 1/2 inch piece to cut in here, and then we'll be able to hook it. So what we're going to do, we're going to run that in and make a 1/2 inch, double check it, it's right on it. But if you remember, this is where we're going to put the tenon. So it's 1 3/4 on the tenon. And the way we find that is with a pair of calipers. So I need to set this, that's 1 1/2. There's the 1 3/4 right there. So we've got the caliper set. So we'll put that right there. So with the caliper set, we are going to mark this off. This has got to be a smooth cut, if you know what I mean. Because this is what's going to have to fit against the hub. So what I'm going to do is kind of, pine is bad to, well, there are a lot of woods that's bad to chip out. But in this situation, so I'm going to take a knife, cut me a line here, and give it the best opportunity that it will behave itself as I'm cutting this. Once you get a knife cut, your blade fall in there and you can tell you're in the right place. So let's hope that's going to be enough to keep that from splintering out. So what I'm going to do now is I'll probably start with a skew and see if I can't mark these points to where it'll help them that much more from tearing out. So that's what this is. Then when I get down to it, this is going to tell us where to go. So let's go ahead and mark this out right here. Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's take a look at that. Okay, that hung in there pretty good. Okay, we're at a 1/2 inch. So our storyboard, the way I've designed it was to hang over this right here. That way it's hooked and you can concentrate on what you're doing up here. So this is going to be a pommel. So there's a pommel right here. Okay, this is pommel. This is the other side. What we can do, if you see I got a bead there, a cove. There's a long bead, long cove, and right here. So I got on each side of that, and plus I got it here, and that is going to be the handle. So what I want to do first, we'll go ahead and rough and gouge and get this down, and I'll show you how I do this right here. And everything else, if you look at it, it's the same way, except the handle's a little longer, but it'd be kind of like doing that. So I can show you what I do right here, then the rest of it would be just rinse and repeat, if you know what I mean. So I got rough and gouge that I'm going to be working right there. And I can see those pencil marks on showing up on camera, but I can see them right there. So I'm going to stay within that and get it round in the middle, and then we can go from there. Because I got a certain technique that's going to turn these pommels here in a second. All right, it's round now. Okay. What I want to do, I'm going to take the spindle gouge, and we'll turn that gut cove into that pommel. All right, see, I've almost got it there. And that's the way it'll be. So you could have something like that be long, but I'm elected for something a little bit shorter. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna come in here. If you remember what I'm doing, still hanging off this side here. Just see what I've got. So that's gonna be the valley of that. So I like just a little bit more there. That right there will be the center, the top of the bead, and that'd be the valley of that cove. So let's work those two out. Okay, that's what I'm gonna need right there. I'll need to take it down a little more, get a little flat place right there, but you see how it works right there? I lost my pencil. See how it works right there? See, there's the top of your cove. That's, pommel. Bottom of it, see, it needs to go down a little bit more. And then it'll take care of that. So there's the bottom right there. All right, we're going to have the highest point here. Bottom of that one, 1.5 inches, and then you're connecting the dots once you get that. So we're going to go 1.5 inches. So I need to set my Caliper's 1.5 right there. So what I want to do is take this, let's get that all the way around. We'll go ahead and turn that down to 1.5 inches. So now what we do, we just connect the dot right there. Okay. See how it's starting to take shape now? Come on. Simple, right? That's got it roughed in. Uh, yeah, now we just need to do some sanding. This video has gotten so long that I think I'm gonna cut it off right there, because the building the wheel, the outer wheel, and where it comes around and mounts to here, because it's got to be dadoed in, and if I give you any kind of detail at all, it's gonna be as long as this one here, I'm afraid. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one off here. We'll probably wind up making a part 2. And hopefully we can get it. Surely we will. All I like is a ring. We'll spend the rest of the time doing that ring. Probably won't be as long as this video, but by the time we put the finish on it, we're going to do some heavy staining and different things. So So that's going to do it for this one. Appreciate you watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.